Hello. At the just concluded LASPPPA stakeholders engagement team planning permit a Rebirth, one of the keynote speakers, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, a fellow of the Institute, delivered an inspiring presentation that redefined what Rebirth means in context of planning permits. It traced the journey of physical development plans from the national level down to neighborhood plans, explaining why every building must obtain a planning permit. He also condemned illegal development like those at the trade fair complex, highlighting how such practices disturbed organized growth. Town Planner Toyin Ayinde mentioned some of the improvements made by LASPPPA over time and also listed some of the challenges that still need to be addressed for better service delivery and public compliance. Watch this video from start to finish to understand what planning permit Rebirth truly means and how it affects every developer and property owner in Lagos State. Keep watching this video. I promise it's going to be an exciting one.
Today we want to look at planning permit, the Rebirth. I've heard the term a rebirth, and I think we should not discuss a rebirth because it will involve what everyone wants to say, and it will be so deep that we will not have sufficient time. But it is the rebirth because we're trying to see what LASPPPA itself has tried to put together to make things easier. That's why it's the rebirth from their angle. But I will not be fair if I discuss this topic just from LASPPPA's angle, because I was in government, I am in government, because once you've been in government, you're always in government. And I am a professional, I serve the people, and government is also out to serve the people. So we must look at all of this in a rounded form. So we'll be looking at a few headlines: introduction and background, planning permit, the Rebirth. What is the core and origin of planning? What is the Rebirth? Or what are the steps that have been taken so far? Then what are the challenges to the Rebirth? I think when I discuss those challenges, they must be seen as areas that LASPPPA must work on to make the Rebirth workable. And then we look at way forward, and then we conclude. Is somebody timing me? So this is supposed to be a stakeholders forum. Why do we hold stakeholders forum? It's just to create awareness. Many times I see people behave as if they do not know what is going on. And fortunately for town planners, the lawyers say that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So whether you know what I'm saying or not, ignorance is no excuse. But duty compels us to enlighten people so that we may know, because even those we think know do not know adequately. And who are the stakeholders? All of us are stakeholders because we have one way or the other that we contribute to development. You know, the ministry is called Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Government plans, people develop. So when a man comes from his village in a remote part of the country and comes to Lagos and he doesn't have any accommodation, and he looks at one pole by a corner piece and he begins to put a shed there, he's already doing development. And that's why it concerns every one of us. And what is the purpose? Just to create awareness, to let everybody know. I'm sure the goal of the general manager LASPPPA will be to turn everyone into a town planner. Because when everyone is a town planner like HOS, then it means you will know what to do per time and you will not destroy the environment. So what's that vision? By the Sustainable Development Goals, we know that Goal 11 is talking about sustainable cities and communities. That's our vision. So when we are being asked to seek for planning permit, it is because we want our environment to be sustainable. So to achieve that vision will necessitate discussing that topic, planning permit, the Rebirth. So what is this topic out to achieve? Rebirth connotes productivity, or proactivity. It connotes revival. You know, I'm sure churches like revival. When they say revival, it means you want to bring something new. You want to kindle the spirit of people. You want a reincarnation. It's like, okay. You want a reincarnation, something to be rejuvenated. So that's what the Rebirth is about. And the hope is that stakeholders will embrace these actions, embrace the initiative, seize the moment. You know, if you are given an opportunity, seize the moment. For example, last year we had amnesty program. So there were people who seized the moment. Because years ago, by a survey conducted, Lagos State had less than 26% of structures that had approval. Less than 26%. I don't know if after the amnesty, maybe the percentage has increased. But the goal is to increase the number of compliant structures. So we are hoping that stakeholders will buy into this initiative, get all of the information that will be given here, and seize that moment to buy into the planning permit process. Make the planning office your friend. Indeed, make the town planner your friend. I heard somebody say when Architect Oki was called to come and speak, somebody just said, "Wole, wole." No, we do not need to have that tag if we do the right thing. He's not interested in demolishing your house once you do the right thing. So what is the core and origin of planning? I would like to discuss this because the part of planning that the ordinary person relates with is planning permit. But planning permit is not the beginning of planning. And it will make me refer to the issue that the Commissioner and the PAMSEC Urban Development have referred to this morning. Before I left home, I was watching Channels Television, and I saw the trade fair issue. The truth is, as a town planner, when I just looked at it, my first impression was, this place is not planned. It's not planned at all. And it is not about planning permits. It's about planning, which begins with the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. So if we do not know these things, we will just think, just get your approval and you can build it anywhere. And because you have approval, it makes it a planned environment. No, that's not it. Our environment must first be planned, and then we locate our individual developments within a planned environment. So how did planning evolve? It started from that picture over there. Before, everybody was just building. Until the Industrial Revolution, when pollution began to disturb, when congestion came from urbanization of that time, when sanitation issues started, and they thought, you know what, we're going to die. Although we are developing, although we have invented motorized industry, things are getting better, productivity is improving, but lives are at stake. So the need for planning came. This screen has not done justice to the drawing that is here, but I'm going to explain. So The need to plan settlements came because if settlements were not planned, then the incidence of death will increase. I recall when I was reading a book some years ago talking about how the contributory pensions came about. You know, it started in US. Before in US, you could retire at age 40. You could retire at age 40. And they knew, without anybody telling them, that in another 5 years you will die. So they were paying pensions for not longer than 5 years. Because when someone retired, between 40 and 45, you will die. Because medical science had not improved then. But as medical science improved, they now saw that the man who retired at 40 was not dying at 60. He was not dying at 65. Who will be paying the money that he's collecting? That was how the contributory system started. So it's the same thing. Why do we need to plan? Just to get people to live longer. So in an average development, you are asked to provide for a setback in the a setback in the front, an airspace on the right, on the left, and at the rear. They are not for decoration. They are not even for parking. You know, most times we think those airspaces are for parking. Parking is an ancillary facility. But the first thing is that it's an airspace, so it allows air to circulate. So when air circulates, there is some peace in the body. So that's the need for planning. So urban planning now came in form of hierarchy. And for a well-planned environment, we start from the general to the specific. And those in the engineering or design field will understand this. You don't start from the least. You start from the general. And then you go down, just like you are in an aircraft. When you are in an aircraft, there will be a point that you are above. You are not even seeing anything except the clouds. But as you drop, you'll be seeing just vast green. If you are over a built environment, vast green. And as you come down, you'll be seeing patches of roofs. At some point, you will see some white patches on the floor, as if somebody spread white clothes. It is when you come closer that you see that it's the Fulani cattle that is on ground. And then when you get down, you begin to see vehicles moving on the road. As you are coming, you begin to identify bigger buildings. When your aircraft lands at the airport, the only thing you can see is the terminal building. That's how planning is. And you know what? When you are in the aircraft, you cannot know how the terminal building is planned. You don't know what is happening in the various offices. It's when you open an office that you see the interior decoration. So that's the way it comes. So for Nigeria, we're supposed to come from a national physical plan, which we don't have as a nation. And if as a nation we don't have plan, what did they say about failing to plan? Answer me now. Good. Then from the national, we are supposed to have subnational plans, which are the regional plans. And then from the subnational, we come to state regional plans. Lagos State used to have a regional plan. I say used to because the lifetime ended in the year 2000. And we haven't done anything to it up till now. And by the way, Lagos State is the first state that had a regional plan. So can we give it a round of applause? And on record, Lagos State is the state that has invested most in physical development plans. Lagos State is the one that has invested most. So because Even though we do not have a regional plan, but we have master plans for the various sections. We have the Ikeja Model City Plan, we have the Apapa Model City Plan, we have the Badagry Master Plan, we have Koshofe Model City Plan, we have Alimosho Model City Plan, we have the Koshofe, right? And so on. So we have Ikorodu, we have Ekpe. So we have master plans covering all. But master plans are policy documents. They are not for everyday running of a system, of a town. So from the master plan, we devolve to sector plans. From sector plans, we devolve to district plans. From district plans, we devolve to neighborhood plans. It is at the level of neighborhood plans you can be talking of layout, where you can see an individual plot. And it is in that individual plot that you are expected to come and locate your structure. And to locate that structure, you must have a planning permit. I hope we understand. So, a planning permit application for an area that does not have a neighborhood plan is null and void. Because at the end of the day, you may have approval, but what you will see, you will not like. I was going to do something, but time did not permit. But if you go on Google, go and search for unequal scenes, you will see side by side organized environments and those that are not organized. It's like placing Victoria Island between what used to be Morocco, you know. It's like placing Ikeja GRA side by side Shogunle. They are not the same thing. But many of those buildings will have approval. So what many of us do is that we construct palaces, but we construct them in slums. We have beautiful environment in your compound. But once you drive out of your compound, you drive into the slum. And that is why the urban plans are very, very important. So what's the purpose of planning permit? The purpose of planning permit is to get the vision of those higher level plans fulfilled. If it's not to answer to those higher level plans, it does not make sense. So there must be a higher level plan to which they are answering. So when Oga went to trade fair yesterday, what I just saw from that television is that this place cannot have a layout. So if it doesn't have a layout, they've been developing nonsense. So, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for how long they have been. Somebody on that program said they had been there for about 22, 25 years. It doesn't matter how long you have been there. In fact, there's a Chinese proverb that says, no matter how far gone you are into the bush, if you realize that it's the wrong way, what do? You turn back. You don't continue. So, I want to thank the commissioner and the team that went to do that work. But the advocacy must continue. Part of that advocacy is why we are seated here. So what is the rebirth? The truth is that LASPPPA has been doing quite a lot over time that people do not know. I try to remember what LASPPPA was many years ago. And in trying to put down my notes for this presentation, I couldn't help but have some nostalgic feeling. I saw some memos that I sent to Governor Fashola on the 12th of December 2011 on LASPPPA, on pre-screening, that we should start pre-screening. It was on the 12th of December 2011. And we were also writing the memo that it should not allow us to structure the ministry according to that 2010 law. Because the 2010 law had been made, but it had not been fully structured. It was through that memo. Although I was able to see all those things. So, but between then and now, a lot has taken place. When I was in office, there were only 20 district offices. To make the planning permit reach out to more people, what LASPPPA has now is 52 district offices. That deserves an applause. LASPPPA has been trying to unshackle processes. For example, when you go for planning permit, you'll be delayed by taxes, you'll be delayed with clearances from Surveyor General's office, clearance from NTDA, clearance from TIA, clearance from EIA, clearance from drainage, all sorts of shackles. So LASPPPA has to unshackle that process by saying that, you know what, we can process your plans, process it to recommendation for approval, and then we'll wait till your clearances come, and then we'll give you approval. And then the good thing is that if you are trusted, if you are trusted, you can also be given an authorization to start your foundation work, knowing that you already have your processes. Then they have increased recruitment. There are more town planners now. They are doing capacity development, both locally and internationally. They have more money now. There was no money in those days to go international. Then there is a reduction in processing time. The archival system is being improved. And then automation of the process is ongoing. It will soon be released. And then there's improved presence on social media to let everybody know what they are doing. And of course, they have launched ambassadors who are faces of LASPPPA from time to time. And then there's a virtual multipurpose desk, and they motivate officers now. And then I recall there is a program on traffic radio, which is done, I think, every Tuesday or so. All those are steps taken to rebirth the process and improve it. So what are the challenges? And I say this with all sense of sincerity. There's the dominance of thirst for revenue. There's a lot of money that people are paying, and it looks as if it's tailored towards revenue drive. And I'm saying this so that we can compare it with what is happening in neighboring states. Because what some people do is that when they see that they are having challenge paying the rates in Lagos State, they move to Ogun State. I was scared the day I heard the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State say that Ogun State now has the largest number of industries in Nigeria. That didn't used to be the case. So we must look for a balance somewhere. There's multi-agency site invasion. I was at a site day before yesterday, and I saw LASPPPA with the red mark. I saw LAPCA with red mark. I saw LSMTL with red mark. I saw Safety Commission on one site. Something is wrong. So we must look into that. And then I said, behold, a 13-stop shop. In those days, we were looking for one-stop shop. But now you see 13 places. And I'm going to show you the list of agencies. And they are either bringing one notice or demanding one revenue. If we don't work on this, it will disturb the rebirth. Then there are bottlenecks in other agencies. Take, for instance, you are processing, and LIRS says your client hasn't paid. And then you send receipt. And for 1 month, LIRS is unable to read its own receipts. 1 month. You know, they will throw it back to say planning. has disturbed. And I have evidences. These things are not jokes. These are live. Then political interference. That will always be, but you will know how to manage it. But I say internal and external. Internal in the sense that I think the staff too have become politicians. So if somebody is in Lasura and they ask him to go to LASPPPA and he doesn't want to go, I think he has become a politician. No? He's no longer a town planner. Or if somebody is in the ministry and they ask him to go to Lasura and he's running about to see who will influence that he doesn't leave that place, he has become a politician. And those things affect processes. They do. Because if you are on your desk and you are not working happily, you are unlikely to discharge your duty very well. And finally, there's a commando style of operation. We are dealing with citizens. They are our citizens. Why do we go there with like 20 people on one side? Policemen, the men with cudgel and everything we want to seal. I think we should be a little bit more friendly in discharging our duties. Now, from planning approval to collecting the key that your house has been completed, you may have visits from any of these agencies. Ministry of Physical Planning, that's where you start. Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, Ministry of Transportation, Physical Planning Permit Authority, Building Control Agency, LIRS, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Lagos State Building Material Testing Laboratory, Lagos State Safety Commission, local government, Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency. You know, we said that so that we would know who to apprehend when there's a collapse, we should have a project board. LASA now charges for project board. Now, Lagos State Waste Management Authority and Fire Service. By all means, there can be 40 agencies. But why don't they come through one stop? Why must every one of them invade the site? It will scare people. And what they will be saying is that planning permit is difficult to get. So those are the areas that I think we should work on. Finally, what's the way forward? You know, everything we are doing is about man and environment. Why are we doing planning permit? We're not doing planning permit so that your building can just be stamped or so that revenue can come. We're doing it because we want you to live well. So we must never forget that. We must apply wisdom to drive in driving for revenue. We must pursue a one-stop process. We must make interagency collaboration work. So when agencies work collaboratively, the public don't need to see many faces. They just need to see one face and come back to that spot to collect what they need. There must be openness and openness over opacity. Make things open. Don't draw regulations from under the table. Make the regulations public. And then let our collective vision be promoting the sustainability of Lagos. So in conclusion, the goal of urban planning is to create order in the built environment. To do so requires the harmonization of various inputs from diverse stakeholders. Our willingness to accommodate one another's views, tolerate occasional defiance, and disagreeing to agree will bring the much desired progress to sustainable development in Lagos State. I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you that there has been a rebirth in planning permit. Thank you.